So it's been a while since I actually tested some of the Dell's laptops, devices, very many years ago. Recently, Dell sponsored some of the other ad segments and I thought I need some kind of a renewal experience of Dell. So I went on Dell's website and I bought this. This is what I believe one of the best bang for buck performance creator laptops that you can buy. This video has been brought to you by Asus ProAd PZ13, the ultra-portable AI laptop for creators with military-grade durability, professional OLED display. Oh, and did I mention that the keyboard and the screen also detach for ultimate portability and much more. Go check out our whole playlist and the full overview in the video description below. Thanks Asus ProAd for sponsoring this part of the video. So this is the Inspiron 16, or I would like to call it Inspiron. The Dell Inspiron 16. Inspiron 16 Plus. Very important to mention, Dell did not send me this product, it's not sponsored by Dell, and they don't get to see the video before it's published. They don't even know I'm making this video, okay? Welcome to Dell. Let's do great things together. Well, I truly hope we will. This is 130 watts, but it's USB-C, which is great, which means we can easily replace it. And you've got the Mickey Mouse power plug on the other side. Wow. Look, when the power is on, the nice thing is there's a little LED light on the cable on both sides. So, this is a really nice silvery color, but it's got a little bit of a blue, kind of a gray tint to it, as you can see from here. Every edge is very smooth and round corners. Oh, and there's a little bit of a smart hinge action going on as well. If I push this back, it actually lifts this up on the corner there. Oh, that's very weird. So our device comes with a USB-C power brick, but if we're looking on the side, some of the ports, we can see that there's actual barrel plug. So that's what the real charger should have been looking like. Looks like this is Thunderbolt. We've got HDMI port on the left side. On the back, there is nothing, just a whole lot of blow through. And looks like they've blocked off some of the fans here, so it doesn't blow through everywhere. As you can see, these two are blocked off, but it blows through here. Interesting design. Then on the left side, we've got two USB type A ports, 5 gigabits and 5 gigabits in speed, and then one SD card slot. So not a lot of I/O. This could have been full-size SD card slot. I would have been a bit happier. Interesting. The first thing it did was not boot into the Windows kind of setup, but into BIOS. So you can set it up for like a server, probably like if you're a business and you want to use all of these and you connect to the server to set it up, something like that, which was a bit confusing. Shift F10. And we're gonna go OOBE, bypass NRO, enter. When doing that, that helps you not to log into Windows account or Microsoft account, and you can just make up a local account, which is, I think, much more helpful and useful. So there, on the Wi-Fi, we're gonna press I don't have internet, continue with limited setup, and then follow the steps now. So I've got the laptop pretty much set up here. I've been doing some installing of software and setting it up and so on. And so far, it's been really, really nice. One of the nicest things that I straight away notice is the screen. The screen is 120 Hertz. It's 16 by 10 aspect ratio, 2560 times 1600 pixels. So everything you do at it feels really, really snappy. But let's talk about some of the other specs. The CPU is the Intel Core Ultra 7 155H. This is a 16 core 22 thread CPU. Very powerful from Intel. The memory, we've got 16 gigabytes, and I chose particularly the 16 gigabytes because some of the models of these have soldered on RAM, but this one doesn't have soldered on RAM, which means that you can upgrade it yourself, which we'll do in a minute. We've got 1 terabyte SSD, 4060 laptop GPU, and 8 gigabytes of VRAM. We've got the NPU from the processor, and then also integrated ARC graphics from Intel. So as a video editor, I'm getting the benefit of NVIDIA GPU, dedicated GPU, 4060, pretty nice. And then we've got the integrated GPU of Intel, which gives us the hardware acceleration of the best codec playback compared to NVIDIA, AMD, and all the rest that are out there. Well, they are the only ones. So I kept the hardware info open during the install of everything, and there's some interesting things. Firstly, the CPU pulls quite a lot of power. look at that. 131 watts through this laptop. That's absolutely insane to see that. Obviously, it went quite warm as well, as you can see, 104 degrees here. And we have been thermal throttling. Let's have a look which cores thermal throttled. Pretty much all of the P cores. Yep. All of the P cores have thermal throttled. Quite insane. All of the P cores, as you can see here, have gone to 102 just to keep the high clock speeds going. Now, is this good for a laptop? Not really, because that means the fans are going to spin up and, you know, the battery is going to drain very, very fast when you're pulling a lot of power. But at the same time, the idle package power is not bad. The lowest the CPU package power we've pulled is 1.95 watts. That's absolutely ridiculous. I want to actually know how well does the cooling keep up with what's going on in here. So I'm going to restart the device and then we'll do some performance tests. Okay, that update was quite long, and it actually updated Intel's microcode as well, which was interesting. So it looks like Intel's pushing BIOS updates out even for the Ultra series, which is interesting. So first, I want to test how good is and how much power does the GPU pull. Okay, so we've got Cinebench R24 open here. We're gonna go press start on the GPU and then let's scroll down. Let's take a look here. 46 watts, 55 watts. So looks like Cinebench R24 is going between 56, so 50 to 55 watts, 57 watts now. So I wanna see what it's gonna do on Thermark, because that is literally pushing the GPU power to the max. So as you can see, 60 watts. 60 watts is what we're pulling from absolutely synthetic kind of benchmark. That's what goes through the GPU, which is pretty good for RTX 4060. And looks like GPU temps are quite okay, 77 degrees. That is not bad. I'm quite happy with it. But let's take a look at the CPU. We're gonna do Cinebench R23 first. Okay, with thermal throttling on all of the cores. Can you see that? We're trying to push through 125 watts, 120 watts. Now we're 102 degrees and the wattage is going down, 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 down. Core clock speeds 3.08 and then they're dropping as well. And now the PL2 limit has gone in, I guess, because we're only pulling 72 watts, not 120 anymore, or 115 like it says here. It's interesting, it says 115 watts is the PL1 limit, but we're pushing 120. So we got about 16,000 points, but 102 degrees, that's insane. I'm gonna start the second one straight away because now our fans have already been ramped up. So I wanna keep the fans on. Let's see what the test is gonna be second time. 125, still keeping it there. Now it dropped down much faster, as you can see. It's definitely going to be lower just because our boost clock speeds were up at much lower. Can you see the core clocks now are 2.5, not 3, so it's going to be quite a bit lower now. At total system power of 72 watts, we're about 80 C, and we're not thermally throttling. It's only when it boosts all of the cores that it has the high throttling. Okay, lower score a bit because the PL1 limit had already reached, so it's not going to be boosting that much in there. We could probably extend it on, XTU from Intel. Now, I'm going to make a separate video about its performance, but so far, one of the things I also want to use is the Copilot. As you can see, this is a Copilot Plus as well because Intel is inside. I'm really liking the fingerprint reader here because even if you have Windows Hello, it's very helpful, but fingerprint reader is always faster than Windows Hello, so that's nice as well. So far, I'm very much liking the design. It's very unified, kind of a blue silver color. The keyboard is gray with backlit keys. The key feel is quite nice. There is quite a bit of chassis flex in here, but not too bad. The screen flex is decent, again, not too bad. The trackpad is small, didn't used to be small, but just because some of the other devices have a much larger trackpad, it's all right. It's on a hinge, so you'll get better, deeper clicks on bottom, but not so much clicks on the top there. It's not haptic. The speakers are quite loud, but I don't see the clarity here. It feels a lot of like trebling or trembling in the sound. Doesn't feel like it's clear coming out. It's loud, but I wouldn't say these are the best speakers you'll ever get. But if you need to play something back to someone, it's completely fine. And this is the sound quality of the webcam. And the picture quality, let me know what it sounds like. Looks like I'm a little bit blown out at the moment. Come on, adjust. There we go. The adjustment has gone down. Is that a little bit better? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Now, what's the best news about this laptop? The best news is the price. This laptop I bought just over £1,000, around $1,000, something like that, before sales tax. VAT, this actually goes for around less than £900 here in the UK. Now, this is on a sale right now, so I'm not sure when you're watching this if the sale is still on, but that is a crazy price, and I highly recommend checking out the latest pricing in the video description below if you want to check this out. But it wouldn't be a tech notice video if we wouldn't tear it down. Let's have a look what's inside. So let's start with these corner screws. That's very good. These two bottom screws here, if you screw them out, they push the sides already open, so you can pry underneath here and get it open. So if you've got one of those pry tools here, and then we'll go around here. There we go. Okay, I think we're coming off. There we go. These top screws actually stay in place. So we can see the speakers here. They've got a clever kind of a spring mechanism here underneath. Then this is a large 90 watt-hour battery. Then over here, we've got our M.2 SSD. Let's take a look here. If we open this up with that screw. Oh, look at that. The main SSD is actually a small 2230 SSD that you can also put in the secondary slot here. There is a secondary M.2 SSD slot, but it is only 2230 SSDs. To me, it's slightly weird that for the main SSD they use the 2230, because usually the 2230 is a little bit more expensive just because it's smaller. They could have used a longer one, but if you wanted to, you can move the secondary one or the main one into the SSD slot, and then have a secondary SSD large if you wanted to, which is pretty nice. I'd rather have a secondary SSD slot that is 2230 than no SSD slots at all. So here we have the RAM, and if we just pop that one out, you can see it's an 8GB DDR5 SK Hynix SODIMM stick. Okay, and upgrading it is so easy. I'll show you now. So I've got this 64GB Kingston option here, and let's just see if this is gonna work. Okay, we're gonna pop it in there, push it down. Second one, push it down. So let's see how that's going to perform. In terms of cooling here, we've got some very large heat pipes, two fans, one of them smaller than the other one. So one kind of runs from takes intake from the bottom and pushes it out through these sides and top, and then the other one on the other side. Interestingly, the heat pipes are linked together. So as you can see, this heat pipe here goes over the GPU, I believe is on this side, and CPU on this side, or vice versa. I'm not sure, because there's a one massive heatsink that goes again both over both of them. There's one massive heat pipe here that doesn't go over the secondary one, but then there's one that goes over the power delivery that the small fan kind of cools down there. So we've upgraded our RAM. Let's see if it turns on. In terms of serviceability, this is probably the nicest laptop that I have ever tested in terms of serviceability. Few reasons. All the screws are same size that come off, so you don't need to worry about which screw goes back where. Then the top, both of them screws are tapped, and when you actually open it, it's connected to the chassis, so it actually pulls it up already. And when you put the chassis back in, just pop it in from the front side, and then the back side, once you start screwing in, it just clicks in everything nicely. You don't have to worry that, oh, I think this is not lining up properly, or this is not kind of going back normally. It's very, very good. So big kudos for Dell for doing this. I can see that the keyboard lighting is actually on, so it's probably training the memory or checking the memory. Let's take a look. In conclusion, so far, I'm actually quite impressed with this device, because for the price point, it's very hard to beat it. This is about $1,000, maybe a bit more depending on a deal. Check out the links in the description below, but that's absolutely insane. If you do want to check this one out, I'm gonna leave the link in the description below. But as you can see now here, do you see what that is? Let me move it this way. It's Dell. Come on, turn it on. And as you can see, we've got 64GB of RAM.